Welcome to episode 2 of the Sabba podcast. Today we are going to be talking about some tips that have helped me get over my anxiety. The overarching goal is that you need to work your way up to not feeling fear, or at least feeling fear and doing things regardless of the fear that you feel. Because ultimately, anxiety is just fear. Fear for things that don't even exist. So realizing that there is nothing to fear is the biggest hurdle that you have to get over. And also, when you hear the fact that anxiety is fear over things that don't exist, objectively, I don't want to say it sounds stupid because it's so valid. The fear and anxiety and the way it sits horribly in your body is so strong. But when you look at it from an outside perspective, there's no point in being afraid of things that don't exist. You're being afraid of situations and scenarios that you create in your mind. On top of that, the amount of time that you waste thinking about things that don't exist, and they usually don't even end up happening the way that you thought or predicted they would happen, helps remove the strong grasp that it has on you. Because at the end of the day, we're human. We can try to guess how things will roll out, but ultimately life pans out how it wants to, and you can try to plan everything to a T and it still will not happen 100% as you expect. Like for a test, you can study as much as you want, spend hours on studying the material, and still not get 100% even though you studied to the point where you thought you would get one. With overcoming fear, getting more into my spiritual and religious journey has helped a lot with that, but I do acknowledge not everyone believes in higher powers and stuff like that. But if you resonate with that, reminding myself in a moment of fear that I'm protected by God has helped me a lot with overcoming fear, specifically when it comes to bugs. You can have anxiety around a lot of things, but one of the things that I still struggle to overcome is my fear of bugs. So like when I take out the trash during the summer, sometimes the trash can would be covered in bugs or whatever, and I had to just like tell myself, literally repeat, I'm protected, I'm protected, I'm protected. And that would help me get over it, because why am I gonna let a bug stop me from doing what I need to get done? Hello. In conclusion, feel the fear and do it anyway. You're always gonna feel fear. That is just one of the things in life that you have to deal with. And confidence and bravery is not the lack of fear. It's the ability to feel fear and keep acting how you wanna act, which is with bravery and confidence, regardless of what the fear is trying to convince you are not capable of. Another tip is finding out what you hold back on the most. For me, a big thing, and it seems so small. Side note, a lot of times when it comes to self-development, everyone has this idea that it has to be a huge thing. It usually isn't huge, it's small. Anyway, for me, it was complimenting strangers. On my college campus, I'd be walking to class and I'd see a bunch of people all the time, and I'd see people with cool outfits, cool hair, and I'd want to compliment them, but I'd be too afraid. And I'd literally convince myself I wasn't capable of it. When in reality, they are human just like me. And what is a compliment gonna do? The worst is somebody will not say anything back or not say a thank you. But the best thing that could happen is you make somebody's day. And oftentimes, complimenting people makes them feel so much better. And I've noticed people don't like to give out compliments. So you may see someone and think, oh, they know they're cool, they're probably getting all the compliments. You might have been the only or the first person to give them a compliment that day. Anyway. So yes, I used to want to compliment strangers, but I was scared, and now I look forward to complimenting people basically every day. And the more compliments I can get in one day, the better I feel. And yes, you likely will have something different that you hold back on, but a good crutch to lean on is just spreading positivity in general. Complimenting others, helping people, whatever it is, it makes the other person feel good, but it also makes you feel 10 times better because it's a mood booster. Whatever you hold back on is likely going to be different from mine, but in general, spreading positivity, whether it's complimenting or just helping people and making other people's lives better, makes you feel so good. And it also helps you boost your confidence because you are breaking down that barrier of telling yourself, oh, I don't have the confidence to reach out to this person and put myself out there. And when you think of it, what is something a confident person would do? Go out of their way and talk to people. Now, with regards to decision making, if there's a choice or decision that pops up in my head and I decide not to act on it, I consciously have to take a moment and ask myself, am I deciding to not do something because what other people will think of me or because of external factors? Or am I not doing it because I simply do not find a benefit or I don't have the desire to do it? If I don't have a valid reason, or if I notice that I'm not doing the action because of fear, I force myself to do it anyway. Also, an important thought that I had to work on was the idea of not wanting to do things. And this was important to work on because a lot of times in the past, there would be good things for me to do that I wouldn't want to do. But in reality, I wanted the result of doing the good things, so I had to do it regardless of whether I felt like it or not. So deciding what actions you want to take based off of the value it can give you is very important. I also have this mantra, if you think it, you gotta do it. And that has helped me a lot with getting over the paralysis of anxiety. This also comes from my belief that when you have ideas and thoughts, there is a reason why it popped up in your head. Personally, I don't usually think of ideas that won't benefit me, so I make sure I don't hesitate when they come into my head. And that ties into self-sabotage. Don't ever convince yourself that you are incapable of doing something. There's already enough negativity and other people can project those thoughts onto you, but you should never let yourself down and convince yourself that you can't do something. Also, putting this into perspective, I never think about doing math problems or becoming an astronaut. That's because those things are not meant for me. I don't desire them because I'm not supposed to act on them. We all have unique and different thoughts and ideas that pop up into our heads specifically because we are meant to act on them, not other people. And if other people can't see your vision or your dream, that's on them. It's your responsibility to act on what your heart and your brain or whatever desires. Another thought process I have is thinking to myself, would my best self or my highest version of myself do this action? If the answer is yes, then I have to do it. And sometimes I do a little mental war in my head, like, I know my highest version would do this. I don't feel like doing it regardless. But I'll take a moment and I'll be like, you can't complain about your goals and your dreams not happening if you're not actively making the tiny decisions every single day to work up to that version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are in control of yourself and you are in control of the successes and achievements you make through these little decisions you make every single day. It really is a decision between self-sabotage versus self-care and self-love. And that segues perfectly into the next point of truly loving yourself deeply and unconditionally. Loving the good and the bad parts of yourself. Intrinsically, you are deserving of love. Your deservingness of love is not based off of the value you give to others or how useful you are to people. By being a person, you are deserving of love, point blank period. And you are deserving of loving yourself and being kind to yourself and treating yourself with the care and kindness you deserve. I used to hesitate to say to myself that I loved myself because I was like, what does that mean? Especially as a kid, I'd watch BuzzFeed videos and they talk about self-love and loving themselves. And I'm like, I don't really resonate with that statement. Like, what do you mean love yourself? I'm just a human. But the more I've worked on my relationship with myself through doing affirmations, working on my spirituality, being there for myself, and working on my confidence and proving to myself that I am capable of doing the things I put my mind to, it has helped me get to the point where I wholeheartedly can say without a doubt, I love myself so deeply. And I also want that for you and everyone else. So don't be ashamed to admit to yourself that you may not truly unconditionally love yourself. That is actually a great realization to come to because it opens you up to the amount of room you have to grow and the ability to get out of that mindset of not loving yourself and working to the point where you do love yourself. This may seem dumb to people, but I will hear people say statements like, oh, I love myself, or just other statements and not understand or use it with the true value the words have. Like, I'm very big on words having strong meaning. I do not say things I do not mean. It's easy to say, oh yeah, I love myself and not truly mean it. But I want you guys to get to the point where you can feel it deeply in your heart how much you love yourself. Because it's also hard to love others if you don't love yourself. Loving yourself is really the key to any great thing in life. Okay, another tip for anxiety is doing at least one thing every day that gets you out of your comfort zone. For me, complimenting people was one of those things I would do, but another thing was going to the gym and weightlifting, which is a bit of a bigger thing, but you can start small. It's so important with anything you want to progress in to start small. But with weightlifting, I'd go to the gym and walk on the treadmills, do some cardio, but I'd be afraid to go to the actual free weights. And I actually started by using the machines, which was sort of like weightlifting, but working up to the point where I could use the free weights without feeling judgment from others and worrying what they think about me helped so much. Getting over anxiety is really just doing the things that your brain think is too hard for you to do or is impossible for you to do because of whatever reason your brain wants to come up with. Sometimes our brains are illogical and they come up with random things that don't make sense just to scare us. But that's part of the human condition. And that also segues to the last part of this video, where getting over your anxiety and getting over anything you struggle with truly is like a muscle that you have to exercise. You constantly train it little by little every day until way down the line in the future you look back and you're jacked as hell. Or in the context of anxiety, you look back and realize that you are acting on actions that past you with anxiety never thought you were capable of. And I know a lot of people like to get stuck on deadlines and knowing how long it takes to make progress in certain areas. But for me, it took several months to about a year to be able to look back and realize how much progress I truly made. And I don't like saying how much progress I truly made, because in reality, any small step in the right direction is progress. Even if you can't see it, the fact that you're acting on it and taking actions, meaningful action, is progress. That is success. Point blank, period. And it's so easy to feel like it isn't working when you don't see a drastic overnight change, but that's where you need your brain to be stronger than ever, because you need to be able to understand that even if your brain is convincing yourself there is no progress, the progress is being made and you need to keep showing up no matter what. At the end of the day, you are not failing as long as you are not giving up. And also, if you are struggling to make progress, the fact that you are conscious of your inability to fight the struggle shows that you are successful and you are making success. Because the old version of yourself wouldn't care to acknowledge that there are ways for you to improve in your journey. The old version of yourself would feel complacent and staying in the old habits, but it is evidence that you are becoming a better version of yourself or your highest self, that you acknowledge how much of a struggle you are having to maintain those higher values because you're not giving up on yourself and because you're striving for greatness. If there's anything that you can take away from this video, it is the fact that I believe in you wholeheartedly and I need you to believe in yourself desperately. This world is a better place when you believe in yourself and when everyone believes in themselves and everyone loves themselves. There is nothing in this world that you can't accomplish. One thing I love to think about is if there is a single human being on this planet that has the dream or the goal that you have and they've fully executed it, it is not impossible. It is truly possible. I don't care if it's Beyonce and you want to work up to that level. The fact that Beyonce has it, you can have it. She was a human being who was born. She may have had different circumstances that gave her an advantage, but if you don't give up on yourself, you are Beyonce. Not you will be Beyonce, you are Beyonce. There may not even be a person on this planet that has the goal that you want, and you can still have it. As a little side story, for the longest time, people thought it was impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes, and one day, a guy just beat it. Doctors were literally saying that it would be impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes. It would give you medical issues or whatever. And he did it, I don't want to say with ease, but he didn't have the medical issues. So that goes to say that other people may put projections on you of things that you cannot accomplish, but it does not matter as long as you believe in yourself and you keep working towards it. I'm so proud of you and I thank you for trying to work towards a better version of yourself. And I'll see you in the next episode.